This video is powered by KR Mangalam University.
Trump's claimed blockade strategy is facing criticism, with questions now emerging about whether it is achieving the results he had suggested. A reported leak has added fresh attention to the U.S. military's thinking, as CENTCOM leadership is said to be reviewing new operational options after earlier pressure around the Strait of Hormuz did not fully succeed. Is Trump now considering a ground-based option after airstrikes and a naval blockade appear to have fallen short of expectations? Trump is expected to review 3 new military options after previously arguing that a blockade would be more effective than bombing. I'm Aisha Varma. Let's take a look at the rest of this report.
Well, the blockade is genius, okay? The blockade has been 100% foolproof. It shows how good our Navy is, I can tell you that. Nobody's going to play games. I don't know, it depends. We're having talks with them now, and we're not flying anymore with 18-hour flights every time we want to see a piece of paper. We're doing it telephonically, and it's very nice. I make a call, or I have my people make a call.
Amid a fragile truce that still looks unstable and uncertain, the U.S. president is reportedly considering a fresh set of military options as pressure continues to build. Trump is expected to be briefed by CENTCOM commander Admiral Brad Cooper on April 30th, according to a report that suggests new decisions may be taking shape behind the scenes. New war plans were reportedly discussed in coverage by Iran International through Axios, which cited unnamed sources claiming to have knowledge of the evolving discussions. CENTCOM is said to be preparing plans for a short but powerful wave of strikes, according to the report, with the idea being to apply rapid pressure in a limited window. The report also says that new Iranian targets, including infrastructure sites, are being considered in an effort to break the current ceasefire deadlock and force movement in talks. Another option under review may involve taking control of parts of the Strait of Hormuz, according to the report, which would mark a major escalation in the regional standoff. The plan to retake Hormuz could include the use of ground forces, as described in the report, adding another layer of complexity to the possible military response. If that happens, the U.S. could then reopen parts of the Strait of Hormuz to commercial shipping, which would be aimed at restoring movement through the critical waterway. Trump reportedly sees the naval blockade on Iran as the main source of leverage in any potential deal, believing it could increase pressure at the negotiating table. However, Trump is also said to be considering military action if Tehran does not change its position, leaving open the possibility of further escalation. Trump reportedly met with oil executives on April 29th and argued that a blockade would be more effective than bombing, according to the account being referenced. Now, Trump imposed a blockade on all Iranian ports in the Strait of Hormuz on April 13th, a move that added fresh pressure to the already tense standoff. Tehran has reportedly insisted that any U.S. blockade must end before a peace deal can be reached, making it a central condition in the negotiations. Trump also claimed on April 29th that the U.S. blockade in the Hormuz region was genius and completely impenetrable.
We're not going to let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And we've knocked out their Navy, we've knocked out their Air Force, we've knocked out their anti-aircraft, everything, apparatus, everything they have, their radar. They have very little left. And they have some missiles, a small percentage. They have a small percentage of missile-making facilities. We knocked out about 80% of them. The rest could come very quickly if we don't make a deal. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They know it, and just about everybody else does.
President, regarding Iran, how long are you prepared to maintain the blockade? Could that go several more months?
Well, the blockade is genius, okay? The blockade has been 100% foolproof. It shows how good our Navy is, I can tell you that. Nobody's going to play games. We have the greatest military in the world, and I built much of it during my first term, and we've been building it since. And the greatest anywhere in the world, nobody even close. And you see that whether it's Venezuela, and they have a good military in Venezuela, but it was over in one day. It was actually over in about 48 minutes. Iran, the same thing. I mean, militarily, we've wiped them out. They have no military left. It's all the Navy's at the bottom of the sea. The Air Force is never going to fly again. We've got an amazing military. Now they have to cry uncle. That's all they have to do. Just say, we give up. We give up. But their economy is really in trouble. So it's a it's a dead economy.
Will Operation Economic Fury and the blockade get Iran to nuclear talks fast enough, or do you think another wave of strikes will be necessary?
I don't know. It depends. We have talks. We're having talks with them now, and we're not flying anymore with 18-hour flights every time we want to see a piece of paper. We're doing it telephonically, and it's very nice. I make a call, or I have my people make a call, and you know the answer. I always like face-to-face. I consider it better. But when you have to fly 18 hours every time you want to have a meeting, and you know what the meeting's all about, and you know they're going to give you a piece of paper that you don't like before you even leave, it's ridiculous. They've come a long way. The question is whether or not they're going to go far enough. So at this moment, there will never be a deal unless they agree that there will be no nuclear weapons.
The US president is reportedly unhappy with Iran's latest proposal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, feeling that the offer falls short of what Washington expects at this critical stage of the conflict. Trump is said to be unimpressed because the proposal does not address the core issue of Tehran's nuclear program, leaving his main strategic concern unresolved and fueling dissatisfaction inside the administration. Details of Trump's reaction were reported by the Times of Israel on April 28th, which described how the proposal was received in Washington and how senior officials briefed the president on its implications. The report cited the Wall Street Journal, which in turn referenced statements by U.S. officials, giving further insight into why the White House views the Iranian offer as incomplete and problematic. U.S. officials indicated that Trump would likely make a counterproposal in the coming days, suggesting that Washington plans to respond with its own terms rather than accept Tehran's plan as it stands.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.